Today, I want to talk about putting yourself first and the importance of that. You see, a lot of people feel like the way to know how much you care about them is to see if you'll put them above yourself. And that can come from the person you're with, it can come from your friends, it can come from your family members. What greater dedication can you give someone by showing them that you're putting them above your own needs? And a lot of people fall victim to that, especially men. We all know scenarios where there's a guy who wants to go to work, come back home, and then he needs to get his workout in. However, and understandably so, his wife's been with the kids all day. So she wants some help, she wants some relief. And he knows in his heart that he needs to go get that workout in because no matter what, if he doesn't get that workout in, everything else falls apart. His mental health might fall apart. Her attraction to him, if this pattern continues, may fall apart. His self esteem falls apart. His self love falls apart. So it's really necessary that he finds a way to still get that workout in. Now, obviously, you can be a reasonable person and you can try to find workarounds with that. You can try to find some time, maybe in the morning, to go to the gym or go a little bit later after she's had a little bit of relief and had a break to where maybe she can go relax by the pool for an hour or something like that. But the point is, certain things have to happen every day. And it's on you to make sure that they happen because that's a part of your self love. That's a part of your program. That's a part of putting yourself first. And a lot of people struggle with that, especially young men. When a young man gets into a relationship and he finds the love of his life, he starts to shift around a lot of different things that he needs to do in order to make the woman happy. I know a guy that pretty much lives for his wife, but he doesn't realize that in turn, putting her ahead of himself lowers her attraction for him. The woman wants to know that no matter what she does, how much she kicks and screams, you're going to stick to your path because that's the goal you set out for yourself. And then 5 and 10 years down the line, she wants to be able to reap the benefits of that. So it's not about putting her first, it's about putting yourself first because you know that the end result of putting yourself first will mean that everybody else succeeds. Nobody else has to see it in the beginning. Nobody else has to see your vision. Nobody else has to see what those daily steps are going to turn into 10 years down the line, 5 years down the line, 20 years down the line. But you should understand the process that you're going through and you should understand your process of delayed gratification. A lot of people might not understand delayed gratification the way that you do. For me, delayed gratification is delayed, but I try to look at it as I'm getting paid right now to do it. While you're doing a bunch of stuff for free, planting those seeds and creating little pathways that'll lead to success, you're already getting paid for them because you created the pathway. Before you started doing those things, those pathways weren't created, so there was no possible way you were going to reach that outcome. For example, the guy who never goes to college and enters law school, there's no pathway of you becoming a lawyer. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. But for the guy who just applies, on the day you apply to law school and the day you get accepted, or even just the day you apply, you create the possibility that you end up being a lawyer one day and you end up opening your own law firm. I'd rather be the guy that has the pathway than no possibility at all. So I'd rather be the person that's planting seeds that's supposed to lead somewhere than the guy who's planting no seeds. I was actually just thinking about this video on the way here, and I was thinking that maybe there's a concept where we could kind of approach our day as from the moment you wake up, you do things that give you a return on your investment. And then maybe the last 2 hours of the day, you do things that won't give you a return on your investment. Because I know a lot of men, they need an outlet, they need something to give them some relaxation at night. They need to watch Netflix for 90 minutes to 2 hours. They need to play video games for 90 minutes to 2 hours. They need to hang out with their girl and have dinner. So why not make your day or construct your day in a way that everything you do could lead to some sort of new pathway to bring you some sort of success. And then at the end of the night, when it's about 8 o'clock, if you go to bed at 10 or whatever, you can say, okay, I did enough. I did everything I could from the moment I woke up until now to where I deserve to relax for a little bit. Because to be honest, it's not just about going and going and going and just struggling and pushing all day. We have that little period in the morning where you wake up and you're motivated for a few hours. And then you have that little period where it's like you don't want to keep going. And then you got to push through that part. And then that hits you again around 4. So you have it like 2 times throughout the day and you got to fight through it each time. But I think the last time it happens and when you push through it and you go to the gym and you finish that workout after work, or you do the dishes and you set up the kids for dinner and then you have a little bit of time left before bed, I don't think you got to fight through it anymore. I think you've done enough for the day. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's not the best advice for everyone. Maybe you think you should spend, 16 hours a day working hard and getting a return on your investment, but I still think that we deserve some sort of relaxation at the end of the day, just to create that balance or just to prevent you from going crazy. Everybody works hard, but the people who can work hard for the longest periods of time are the people who reach the most success. So if you create sort of a system that gives you the ability to push and push and push, but then you get to reset, I think that's a better way to have long term success. So don't adjust your lifestyle. Don't adjust the things that you know have to happen. If you're in classes, you know the classes got to get done and you got to get good grades. So that's the priority. That comes first. You prioritize that stuff for the morning. You make sure that near your calendar you have about 2 or 3 hours set aside to study for that class or study for those classes. And that has to be done. Nobody should sway you from that. You know that if you're a man, you got to go to the gym at least every other day on average. That has to be done. Nobody should be able to sway you from that. If people are trying to sway you from that, then you need to remove them from your life, or you need to find other ways to adjust to where they get what they need and you get what you need, because it's not just about them. You put yourself first. If you got to go to the gym, you got to do that. If you're a woman and you got to go to the gym and you got to do legs twice a week, that's got to get done. Nobody should sway you from that. Your man shouldn't tell you, oh, well, I need you to take care of the kids so you can't go to the gym. You got to figure that out. You got to get rid of the man because you got to put yourself first. Because there's nothing worse than being 35, 40, 45, 50, and then realizing that somebody else other than yourself stopped you from being the person that you said you wanted to be and you were on that path to becoming. If you know you got to meal prep on Sundays and you know that's what Sundays got to comprise of, that's what has to happen. When your girls hit you up to go out on Sunday, you can't go. When your boys hit you up to watch football, maybe you can't do it because you got to cook, set up your meals in order for the rest of the week to be efficient. You got to put yourself first, man. And it's crazy because the more you put yourself first, the least friends you have and the least people that stick around in your life, because you start to realize, like, when you're really pushing in life and you're really trying to get a return on your investment, you don't have time for a lot of people. Your circle gets much, much smaller, but you accomplish a lot more than you thought you would. So young men and young women out there, prioritize yourself, love yourself. Don't let anybody sway you from the path that you chose. Choose activities that give you a high return on your investment. Prioritize the things that you know is going to lead you to the person that you chose to be. Use your logic most of the time and not your heart, not your emotions. Even when you say you don't feel like going to the gym, if you know yesterday was a rest day and tomorrow is a rest day, today you should go. Even if you don't feel like doing it. If you're not sore, you're not sick, and you have the time, you have the slot taken care of as far as your calendar, it says you're supposed to go because that's what you said you were going to do. Do what you said you were going to do. Self love is repeatedly choosing the person that you set out to be. Self love is making real time choices that your future self will be proud of. The day you pick up a cigarette and start smoking it, your future self is going to be really disappointed if you get stuck on that. The day you try drugs and you get hooked on it, your future self who's a drug addict is going to look back and say, damn, man, why did I ever try those drugs? I wish I could have went back to that day and never tried those drugs. Your future self is going to appreciate the fact that you didn't marry that woman. You dodged that bullet. And then you go on her Facebook when you're 35 and you see that she's now fat, disgusting, has 4 kids by 3 different men, and you dodged that bullet. Self-love is going to be like, man, thank God I didn't make that choice. So love yourself, put yourself first. Don't let anybody sway you from your path. Create a clear path for yourself. Create clear goals with timelines. And every day, try to make sure that the activities you do and the choices you make lead you closer to those goals. And then you accidentally reach them. You reach them without stress. You reach them without anxiety. You're going to always have those moments 2 or 3 times a day when you got to push through and say, I want to stop, but I got to keep going. And that's a part of it. But as you get used to doing that, you get used to it. So it's okay. The hard times is what makes the man. The stress is what makes the man and the woman. And it makes you appreciative for the journey. So I just wanted to talk about some self-love stuff with you guys, some delayed gratification stuff. And I'll talk to you guys next time.